Yeah.
And I thought, right, that's enough, young man. Get your own chicken. I don't think we're going to be doing any music.
Yeah. It would be fun though.
So-
Could be cool
Okay, well,
and less stressful than racing.
what have we got to lose? So, welcome to this special edition of Team Talk presented by Atlassian. This time, I'm Damon Hill, in case you didn't know, and this is Jacques Villeneuve, my longtime teammate of 1996. Great to be back together, Jacques, with the team. We're currently at Suzuka, scene of some great victories, and maybe also some painful memories for you, Jacques.
It was a tearful day, but for two reasons. Because obviously, I lost the championship, but I was also happy you won. So it was a mixture. It was really a cool moment.
Well, you better explain to our listeners and viewers what actually happened, because we came
You
here.
beat me.
Well, you could have been world champion, and I could have been world champion.
Yeah.
But I had a points advantage, didn't I? But there was nothing you could have done about it eventually.
About the points advantage?
No. Not with only 3 wheels.
No, not with only 3 wheels. So yeah, coming out of the pits, turn 1, 2, and the rear wheel just fell off. So
Why did it foot? Did you find out?
I found out when I was going straight for the guardrail. With the wheel missing and the wheel overtaking me. I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. But ultimately, you had a 9 points lead, and the win was 10 points. So all you had to do was finish the race with 1 point, and you were champion anyway.
I had to win it, Jack. I'm sorry. I didn't come here just to come second.
Yes, of course. And you ended up, winning the championship, winning the race, and that's the best way to finish a season.
So to cut a long story short, your car broke down, basically, is what happened. They put you out. So they told me that I was world champion before I even got to the end of the race.
Well, was that a downer?
It was a little bit of a shame. Because I knew already and I had to keep going. So I asked the team, can I stop now? Because they told me I was world champion. They said, no, keep going. Anyway, so I had to do a few more laps, and then
I can imagine you had tears in your helmet while driving. That made it difficult.
The tears came later.
Okay,
but Jacques, you were a great teammate, and we got on very well. It was intense fighting for a world championship with your teammate in the same team, because really you were my only rival. There was no one else in there, so you were a fantastic sport, and you came and celebrated with me after the race. And you were very magnanimous.
I remember that evening as well. It's when there was still the log cabin here, the log cabin in the middle where everybody ended up, because it was at that time the last race of the season, always. So there was always a big party. It was fun, and it was nice to share the moment, because when I joined Williams, I came after winning in the States, so maybe a little bit arrogant, I don't know, but enjoying
I wouldn't
what I was
say
doing.
arrogant,
but
cocky maybe.
Yeah, but that's okay. As a North American, let's say. But at the same time, I joined your team because you had been part of the team for a long time.
Yeah.
You had been part and parcels of building the team, of building the car, of getting that car being a winning car, working with Adrian Newey. So basically, I got into your turf, and I realized the minute I got into here that I still had a lot to learn. Having won in the States wasn't enough. And you were killing me in quality in the first few races, except Melbourne. That was an odd track. But then the following tracks, you were, a second ahead of me in quality?
Yeah, so
that was major.
Jacques arrived here in Formula One and got pole position in his first race.
That was cool.
That was pretty cool. I don't know how many people
that
have
annoyed
done
you. That annoyed you.
Listen, honestly, you can have that one. If I can win the race, you can have the pole. That's how. And you were unlucky again in that race, weren't you? So you had a bit of bad luck in the first race and the last race, because your car developed an oil leak, didn't it?
Yeah, there was an oil leak. The red light was coming on, so I was told to slow down. And by doing that, also meant that I had to let you by. But, the season was long. And for me, it was more important to finish second and get the points than to blow the engine.
Yeah.
Because you need the points. But, our pace was matched.
Yeah.
And it all happened when a pit stop came out. There was a little bit of a battle, which was fun.
Yeah.
It was clean. But then we had the matched pace the whole race. So it could have been either of us, even without a mechanical failure.
But of course, you had one season learning, if you like, with me, and then I left, and then you had a free run for 97. All you had to do is beat Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, it was so much easier. Actually, I always found it a lot harder to fight your own teammate, because it's the same car.
Yeah.
It's the same car.
You share the setups, you work as a team, but you still need to beat the other side of the team. And then it's tough for the mechanics and the engineers because they're supposed to work for the team, but of course it becomes a little bit personal. And that I've always found that a little bit more difficult than fighting a driver that's from a different team like Michael, and also a driver that you can be nasty to.
Right.
Which that
So you
was
couldn't
not
be
that. Yeah, I couldn't be
you
nasty
couldn't be
with you.
nasty to me. Are
No,
you sure? I mean, what
you're a
about
nice
when you tried
guy.
to steal my lunch? I thought that was quite nasty.
Well, your chicken
You
looked
t-
amazing.
So we're in the truck in the debrief room somewhere having lunch, and Jack decides he likes my chicken and reaches over with a fork to get my food.
Yeah,
And I thought, right, that's enough, young man. Get your own chicken.
that got you more annoyed than like being beaten in quali or something.
Yeah,
The
nobody
chicken kid,
nicks
that
my
was that was
lunch.
that was tough. No, but everybody laughs about food now because the catering is better than restaurants. Okay, so
Yeah,
but
thankfully,
back then,
literally,
if you had a good sandwich, you were lucky.
you were fighting over the
Yeah,
scraps.
it was dry chicken. There was no sauce, nothing, but it did look appetizing. Yeah.
Anyway.
And I remember your face. I was like,
Okay, no, that was.
I had to show
That was that went beyond the line there. That was too
It's
much.
like when you take a bone away from a dog. Anyway,
Yeah.
so hopefully you can see we still get on well, which is good. But the sport's changed quite a bit, hasn't it, since we were driving? The cars were simple when we were racing. Now
Well-
they're incredibly complicated.
but it was. Remember, we both had our engineer and a data guy, and that was it.
Yeah,
And we just spent the whole day sitting with the engineer and just mulling over ideas and how to get the edge on your teammate, basically, knowing that there weren't any secrets anyway. So how do you do that? And I remember that our cars by the end of the season were quite different in setup.
Yeah.
We had very different driving style. Like, I really had a hard time to drive your setup. That was really difficult for me. And the same thing. You had a hard time to drive my setup. So we ended up.
I never tried your setup. I'm
Good.
not, I'm not trying that.
And we ended up having like two teams inside a team, which was
Yeah.
very odd.
I think now the engineers are really dictating what happens to the setup. I think that's the idea I get of what's happening today. Whereas we had whatever we wanted, they would do for us. Yeah.
Well, there was no budget
matter
cap.
how crazy it was, yeah.
No, yeah, it was crazy because we're testing like maniacs.
Yeah.
The amount of mileage we were doing, and there was always something new to try.
Yeah.
There was no budget cap, no limit, and the rules were very open. You could kind of invent anything.
Yeah.
And I
And
found
no
that very fun.
simulators. We did no simulation. We just went testing on a racetrack.
Well,
So
there
we-
wasn't a better way to test
I
the
know.
car anyway. But
Yeah.
it was the freedom you had with your engineer to come up with ideas and just try them.
Yeah.
And sometimes some
IGs were quite funky,
Yeah.
and sometimes they even worked, which was really cool.
Did you try? You tried no rear wing, didn't you, in Monza?
Yeah, we tried that in Monza.
How did
That
how
was
was
nice.
it?
it was amazing because we used to do that in Formula 3.
Yeah.
Those long straight lines. But the problem is because of all the vibration, we had to put very small side plates. So when you got sideways, there was no wind to hold it. So that wasn't very good. It did gain us top speed.
Yeah.
And the lap time just in the first round was about 2/10 off. So that wasn't bad. The problem is we're cooking the brakes
Yeah.
because there was no wing acting like a parachute when you hit the brakes. And the car was a little bit
Wobbly under braking. So that's the reason we didn't persevere with it, mainly because we're cooking the brakes. But that looked cool, and also the sponsors weren't happy.
No, that's
That
true.
was not, you didn't have
So
the ground anymore. No, the nice stickers.
something less to break.
yeah, I mean, it's not all about the technology, is it? Sometimes it's about the money.
Also, and also the fact that the weight balance of the car, because there was less weight on the rear,
Oh, okay.
which
So
had
that's
a little effect on the
But yeah, you
balance.
weren't afraid to try things, which I was very impressed with. But anyway, you went your own way,
Well, I
which
think that-
is your style.
I think I brought that from the States. Because when you have to be on ovals at high speed on the edge, you have to find little tricks.
Yeah.
That maybe don't add up on numbers, don't add up for engineers, but you kind of have. It's a lot about feels, and feel will make you go fast. When you believe you can, it will give you that extra tenth. And in those days, we could still work on a car in that.
So actually, this is quite useful because we got that Atlassian teamwork question. Okay.
Aha.
So the teamwork question is: we're both teammates. We've sort of been talking about this anyway. We're rivals as well as teammates. And how does being a rival affect your relationship on and off the track? And I think you got a sense, hopefully, of our chat that we work together very well as teammates. We were working against each other in the team. I had to beat Jack. but we also worked for the team, didn't we? So
It's all down to the respect, whether there's respect or not. If you respect your teammate,
yeah,
you know he's a guy to beat. You want to be better because he's good, not because you don't think he's any good.
yeah,
I think that makes a difference because you know you can learn and you can make yourself better by trying to beat your teammates, and that's a key difference. And when I got into F1, I'd been watching you racing since my Formula 3 days because
We both had the same
Yeah.
sponsor when I started racing, when they went up all the sons of ex racers
yeah,
back then. And I'd been watching you race, getting to
F1 because at the time I was in Japan and racing in the States, and I'd seen the hardships you've been through
yes,
in seasons where you had won the championship
basically.
Yeah.
They were yours, and they were kind of
taken away. So, and I remember feeling very strongly about that, watching it. So when I became your teammate, oh, that's so cool. You know, that's the guy
Okay.
that I will race against, that I will learn from. And you were very good and
very open in sharing as well. Like because as if I was like the younger brother.
I took the view. I mean, we should explain to our viewers because not everyone was around. I mean, we're talking 30 years ago. But Jacques' dad was a racing driver. He was very sadly killed when Jacques was only very young. My dad was a racing driver, so and I lost my dad when he was 15. So we had some sort of. I always felt there was some sort of common experience there. But we came into this sport with, I think, strong sense of sportsmanship from both our dads.
Respect, sportsmanship, and beating the opposition by being better.
Yes.
And respecting a good battle. If someone beats you because he's done better, good, kudos.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and you then you have to do better yourself.
Yes.
And
So-
I think something else that occurred to me is as on the teamwork subject, the team were very fair with us. They made sure that we both got. If there
Yes.
was something that was better, I would get it one week and then you get it the next week. They always tried to be fair with the drivers.
it was fully balanced.
Yeah.
which was very helpful. But also something you didn't mention is we both came into open wheel racing through the non-normal pathway. You came from motorbikes,
Yeah.
I think, and I came from skiing.
We didn't come from karting.
Yeah.
So I think that was also another.
Yeah. Just think
Something
how
that-
good we'd be if we'd been through
Ex-
karting.
No, we'd be worse because we
We think
wouldn't have
so.
a broad, an open mind on how to approach different subjects. I think that helped you and me in feeling the car. Because the movement you get on a bike, same thing on a ski, and
Yeah.
what you can do, which you don't really learn from a kart. So I think actually it was helpful.
I think there's a common denominator. They're all speed sports, aren't they? And I think
Yes.
yeah.
They are speed sports, and with a proper peripheral vision, because on a bike you move around, you can see
Yeah.
the same thing with skiing.
Anyway, you're a crazy skier. You're probably still completely mad on skis.
But we're talking about being teammates, but off track a little bit less because you weren't a party animal.
I wasn't.
No.
I was married. I had children.
Yeah, but you could still party. I saw you rock. I saw you rocking. So you did have that side in you. It was just hidden somewhere.
Listen, I got to F1 a little bit. I was late. I was older than you by 10 years older, I think. Anyway, so some fan questions. Right. Which is your favorite race? Favorite race to work on? A question for both. What is your favorite track and why? So which is your favorite track?
Me?
Well, Melbourne was definitely one because for some reason, and you've had those tracks, I was always quick there. Even in an awful car.
Yeah.
First of season, somehow that's the track where I would be quicker than my teammate by a lot. Something happened. It was natural. It didn't matter. So it worked. But then on the other hand, you would have many cool where even in the best car, I would be at the back. It's just I couldn't get it working. So you have these moments. Now for fun, Suzuka and Spa. Because those are the tracks where when you did that quali lap where you got that car really in that window that was super precise, you could gain half a second, you could really
Get something going, and you were on the moon. You were on a different planet. You weren't on Earth anymore, and you could get in that zone. And
it just made you feel special. You knew you had accomplished something special with
with
that lap.
also because you got that car in that zone, and there's not many tracks where you could get.
Yes, you got a massive gain if you got it right, didn't you? On those
Yeah.
those big tracks like Suzuka and Spa.
Yeah. What were yours?
Well, I would say I like those. So I didn't like Suzuka when I first came here. I was scared. I thought it was quite, intimidating. When I first came here, I went, "Oh my God, what am I doing being a Formula One driver?" And I did some of my best races here. So of course, got to learn it. Once you get to learn it, you get to love it.
And I'd raced here a lot in Formula 3 before,
you-
so I
you-
came here knowing it. What
Yeah.
was your worst track? The one you really hated going to?
I don't think. I mean, I hated the boring ones. The ones where there was nothing to get your teeth into. And so, I mean, I won't mention their names, but I mean, some people don't like Hungary. I liked Hungary because it was like a big go-kart track, and the car could slide around, and I liked that place. And I went well there. Barcelona, I would have to say, was not one of the great tracks for me. It was constant radius, corners.
And we spent too much time testing
Man
there as
spent
well.
too much
so
time.
we got
I used to
bored.
like Estoril. Did you like
Yeah,
Estoril?
that was. You said here was dangerous.
Yeah,
Estoril
Estoril
was
yeah.
nasty. That one was.
I had a
cool.
big one. I had a big one there. Anyway, right. There's another question. Is there any race besides your championship winning ones that either of you would go back to and do again? In other words, I'm not sure whether they mean would you do it differently, or you got something wrong, you'd like to change your mind over something. I mean, for me, they're asking that question, would I go back and do it again? I'd have to say Adelaide '94. I'd probably wait until Michael parked his car before trying to overtake him.
Yeah, had you known?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But what about you?
Me, Melbourne '96. I would have taken the risk with the engine
Yeah.
because winning that race over you would have made quite a big difference then for the rest of the season.
Wow.
And Monza. Remember when we put these tires?
Oh
Because-
my God. Yeah.
And you hit one of those tires and killed it.
Yeah.
And I also hit them and bent my suspension. I finished sixth instead of running at the front. So these are the two that could have made a difference.
They would have made a big difference
Yeah.
to the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, you said we came here with 9 points difference. It would have been probably level pegging.
Mm.
So, yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't get that right. That's all I can say.
I was a nice boy back then.
Right. Anyway, let's move on. Both of you guys are professional musicians. I would say that's stretching it a bit. I mean, we play professionals is a strong word. Jack, you have Pirate or Private Paradise. Is that your album?
Yeah.
And Damon has played in the Conrads and Def Leppard. Well, I was on a Def Leppard album. Are we getting a Williams album? That's an idea, isn't it? We could write some music together.
Cool.
I think
but-
for the sake of humanity, we perhaps should
Yeah, and
maybe
it
part that
takes more
idea.
than just the two of us.
It takes more than just being able to make a noise on an
Is
instrument.
there? Do the current drivers play anything?
Probably, I think Charles plays piano.
Yeah, but it
And-
sounds very classical. I'm not sure if that would work
Yeah.
with your, heavy guitaring.
I don't think we're going to be doing any music.
Yeah, it would be fun though.
So-
It could be cool
Okay, well,
and less stressful than racing.
what have we got to lose? Favorite behind the scenes memory of a respected championship winning years? I would say karaoke cabin.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think
Would
that after after
Yeah.
we won the championship,
Yeah.
when we were in the log cabin there,
Yeah.
and it was a general, like people were happy you had won. In the paddock,
Yeah.
because they had been there the previous years. They
Yeah.
had seen the hard work you have put into it. And I was
The newcomer, so it was a good partnership, and it was a good general moment, and
Yes.
smiling, and so that was really a cool, happy, positive moment. Yeah.
Good. Well, anyway, it's been very, very good to chat to you, Jack, and go relive old times. I hope
It's
you enjoyed
yesterday.
this.
Memory does not age. Remember that.
Basically, we're gonna have to wrap it up because we don't want to bore the.
we could go on forever.
We could go on forever. We can't go on forever. But don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the website for new merchandise. So that's all from us. I think the next time Team Talk comes back, it's going to have both the current drivers instead of us old boys. It's going to have Alex and Carlos talk to you. So meanwhile, from us, that's all you're going to get. But we'll be back.
No one can stop being friends. Yeah.
Yeah, still, yeah. Keep it cordial.